The fighter can be the ultimate tank and damage dealer for your party, and for me this is the ultimate Battle Master build for your Baldur's Gate 3 fighter class. As always, we're going to do a level by level guide and a combat drill and a full set of equipment, so let's jump into it. We're going to start at level 1 with fighter. This gives us access to second wind, which means as a bonus action we can allow ourselves to heal up. We also gain a bunch of proficiencies with nearly every type of weapon and armour you can think of. For your fighting style, we are going to take the Great Weapon Fighting. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a damage die for an attack with a two-handed melee weapon, that die is re-rolled once. Now, your ability score points are going to look very different at the start of the game compared to the end of the game. This is going to be my end of game build. However, if I was starting the game, this is what I would do. I would have 16 strength, 14 dex, 16 constitution, 10 intelligence, 10 wisdom, and 8 charisma. However, because we are respeccing in Act 3, this is what I will go with. We're going to do 10 strength, 16 dex, 12 constitution, and then theoretically these can be anything. We can actually put our con down to 10 if we wanted to, and take that to 12. We could any sort of combination of this is what you can use. The reason being is we have 2 items that boost our strength and our constitution to 23. So we don't need to worry about those stats now. But as I said, if you were going to do this from the start, 16 strength, 14 dex, 16 constitution is how you would start it. Okay, fighter level 2, and what you'll notice is the fighter is so easy to level up. We get action surge, which means immediately gain an extra action in this turn, and that is all you get. Leveling the fighter really is that easy. So, fighter level 3, we get to choose our specialization, and of course, the Battle Master, because this is the pure Battle Master subclass build. And we get to pick our maneuvers, and for this, I would take a disarming attack. So you get to spend one of your superiority dice to make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage, and possibly force the target to drop the weapons they are holding. This is amazing because if you can get them to drop their weapons and then pick their weapon up, they have no way of picking that weapon back up and being able to use it against you. And then they're stuck doing unarmed strikes. Really good way of really eliminating the enemy from being a damage dealer. Sweeping attack. Swing your weapon in a rapid sweeping arc to attack multiple enemies at once. Roll your superiority die for damage. So a really good AoE sword attack. It's not going to be your biggest damage dealer, but if you want to chip away at lots of people at once, sweeping attack is the way. And then finally, trip attack. Spend a superiority die to make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage and possibly knocks the target prone. And the target must be large or smaller. So this won't work on monstrosities and that sort of thing, but anything large and below, you have a good chance of knocking them prone. And prone's amazing because it means they have to get up off the ground, easier to hit, things like that. Okay, now when it comes to leveling up, we are going to start with feats. Now, if you're doing this build from the very start of the game, you could do your ability and score improvements, bump your strength up to 20, or work your way to bump up to 20, bump your constitution up, those sort of things. Because this is an endgame build, we are going to focus on our feats. And this build would also work from the start if you just want to choose these feats and then respec your skill points afterwards. But regardless, we have Savage Attacker as our first feat. When making melee weapon attacks, you roll your damage dice twice and use the highest result. Phenomenal. This is a great feat, ensuring you deal as much damage per round as you possibly can. Okay, fighter level 5, we have access to an extra attack. Amazing, basically more damage dealing. At fighter level 6, we have our next feat, and for this one, we're going to choose Sentinel. When an enemy within melee range attacks an ally, you can use a reaction to make a weapon attack against that enemy. Target ally mustn't have the Sentinel feat. And we have advantage on opportunity attacks. Even better. Couple that with things like Savage Attacker, and you are going to be rolling as much damage as possible per round, and really bumping your DPS up. Now at level 7 we gain 2 more passives, and the first one we are going to take is Fainting Attack. You can use both your action and bonus action on a turn to attack a target with advantage and deal an additional 1d8 damage. So this is really good because most of the time fighters don't have things for their bonus actions, especially a pure one, unless it's second wind or potioning. And hopefully we're removing the need for potions with what items we have, which will just be your second wind then. And you can only use that once per short rest. So once that's gone, your bonus action is pretty much wasted because you haven't got anything you can do it for. Whereas now, we can do it to have advantage and an additional 1d8 damage die. We're also going to take pushing attack. Spend a spirit die to make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage and possibly push the target back 4.5 meters. This is effectively a solo thunder wave attack. Really good if you want to just push an enemy off a building, roof, beam, whatever. Okay, fighter level 8, we have one more feat to pick now, and we're actually going to take alert. Again, a +5 bonus to initiative, and can't be surprised. And this is amazing for boosting that initiative, and meaning you are higher and higher and higher up the turn order. And if you can get near the top of the turn order, your first round of damage, you can wipe out a few enemies immediately, making the rest of the fight that much easier. Okay, fighter level 9 gives us Indomitable. You become as durable as an iron golem. Whenever you fail a saving throw, you roll again, using the new result instead. Fighter level 10, improved combat superiority. So now our superior die is a 1d10, which means whenever we use something like the fainting attack, whatever, that 1d8 is now 1d10. And we get 2 more maneuvers, and the first one, goading attack. Deal an additional 1d10 and attempt to goad the target into attacking you. Target receives a disadvantage on attacking any other characters. Really, really good way of protecting your allies, trying to draw aggro, because Baldur's Gate is a game where, and D&D itself, where you can't really draw aggro. It's not like a Dragon Age where you have taunts and that sort of stuff. Really, the AI will tend to pick off who it thinks is the squishiest, that sort of thing, whoever it can knock down quick, especially if they're more open and vulnerable. Goading attack is one of the best ways you can kind of try and protect your allies and tank as much as possible. And then the last maneuver is the maneuvering attack. Spend a spirit dice to make an attack that does an additional 1d10 damage. On hit, select which friendly creature will gain half its movement speed. It will not provoke attacks of opportunity. Again, another really good way of getting your allies around the battlefield, either protecting them, getting them out of danger, helping allies get to a certain place. Really, really good. Okay, fighter level 11, improved extra attack. You can make 2 additional attacks after attacking with your main hand weapon. Phenomenal. And finally, fighter level 12. Now, there are 2 options you can do here. Theoretically, you want to take Great Weapon Master, but if you don't feel like taking that, there is Tough. Your hit point maximum increases by 2 for every level you have gained. The issue with this is it doesn't really work when your constitution is so low, but it's not too bad. But I would say, for this, I do think Great Weapon Master, taking the -5 attack roll penalty for 10 extra damage, is probably the best way of doing this. It also means if you kill a target with a melee weapon attack or land a critical hit, you can make another melee weapon attack as a bonus action that turn, which means it gives us another use for our bonus action. Okay, so that was our build level 1 to 12, and if you have seen any of my builds, you hear me say that the House of Hope items are the best things in the game. And this is why. They are the best combat-focused equipment you can equip. Now, let's show them off. The Helldusk Helmet. So, we get Infernal Sight. You can see in magical and ordinary darkness up to 12 meters and cannot be blinded, which is insanely good. We get Magical Durability, which gives us a +2 bonus to saving throws against spells. And attackers cannot land critical hits on us. We also unlock Immobilizing Glaives. So 2 to 6 damage. Sear and frighten a target with nothing but your glower. You deal an additional 2 to 16 damage against burning creatures. So if you can land this on turn 1 and then set yourself up to deal extra damage per turn, amazing stuff. The Flesh Melter Cloak. Now this is a cloak that basically, whenever a target hits you and it's in melee range, you'll deal 1 to 4 acid damage to them. The other option here to take instead of this would be the Cloak of Protection for that +1 to AC. Now, you could use the Helldusk's boots, however, I think the Disintegrating Nightwalkers are my favourite boots in the whole game. cannot be enwebbed, entangled, ensnared, can't slip or ice and grease. But more importantly, we get Misty Step, and Misty Step is phenomenal. Now when it comes to the armor, the Helldusk armor, any character can wear this and you are instantly considered proficient with it, so this is an amazing piece of armor to throw on any character. Infernal Retribution. When you succeed a saving throw, the caster receives burning for 3 turns. And this pairs really nicely with Immobilizing Gaze, because additional 2 to 6 damage against burning creatures. So if we can use Immobilizing Gaze and the Helldusk armor, we will do an additional 2 to 16 damage per round with all of our hits. And considering we get 3 hits, and then if you throw on the 4th from Action Surge, amazing. It also gives us resistance to fire damage and cannot be burned, take 3 less damage from all sources, and the Fly spell. Pair this with the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength, which gives us a +1 saving throw to our strength, and sets our strength to 23, which is why if this is an endgame build, you do not need to worry about buffing your strength anymore. You can use all those ability scores and bump into other things like we did. And this pairs with the Amulet of Greater Health. Constitution is set at 23, and we have advantage on Constitution saving throws. Pair this with the Ring of Regeneration, which gives us 1 to 4 hit points regen per turn. The Killer's Sweetheart, which means when we deal a critical hit, when we kill a target, we get a guaranteed critical hit on our next attack. And what really pairs well with the Ring of Regeneration is the Sword of Chaos. 2d6 plus 8 damage, plus 1d4 necrotic, so 24 maximum damage per hit, but on a hit, regain 1 to 6 hit points, which means every hit and every turn we are regaining health with a high AC. We've got the damage negation from the armor. We are the tankiest of tanks in this game. Now, it's all fine and dandy me just telling you how this build works, but let's go and see it in action. Okay, we are in the combat, and as you can see, our Battlemaster is actually on the same initiative as our Rogue. So let's get our Rogue's turn out the way, and we'll go full helm with the Battlemaster. In fact, I actually had to change the plan. We're going to do the Battlemaster first and show off as much we can do in the first round of combat. So, let's come here to begin with. And we're going to start using some of our maneuvers. So, let's start with Sweep Attack. As you can see, this will hit both of the people here. And there you go. Like I said, it's not a lot of damage, but we did chip away at both of them. And as you saw, because we hit 2 targets at once, our sword triggered twice, and we actually regained twice the amount of health. And by twice, I mean we actually regained health from 2 hits instead of 1. So if you are in a pickle and you really need to regain some health, and you are surrounded by enemies, the sweep attack is a really good way of buffing your health back up, and it will effectively work like a potion would while dealing damage. Now we have other maneuvers we can do, as you know, so let's start with a trip attack. There you go. So unfortunately we didn't get the trip, but we did do a crazy amount of damage and once again healed up. Now let's just finish this gentleman off. And this will trigger execution, as you can see there, which means we could come over here. Now unfortunately we don't have the ability to, because it says we have no attacks left. But with Great Weapon Master, we can use our bonus action and come in here, Executioner, and smack the living hell out of them. We could then Action Surge and have another hit. And there you go. In the space of 2 turns, in the space of your very first turn, you've almost killed 2 whole enemies. And we've lost no health. And what's actually really funny is, I forgot this, we actually now have more attacks available. So let's try some things again. Let's do a pushing attack melee. Now this will probably kill the enemy anyway, but or it will miss. Well, let's just kill them. There we go. So, as you saw, we had 7 attacks that round, killed 2 enemies in the first turn of combat, making life easier for our other characters. And there you go. We got the bonus attack then, from having the opportunity attack, and we healed another 3 health. Okay, let's shove some more maneuvers now. It's our turn again. In fact, you know what, actually, we're going to do Immobilizing Gaze, because why not? There you go. Set them on 8 damage, and now they are fearful. And if we go to examine, this is what Fearful does. Disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls, and it must run from the source of its fear and can't take any additional actions. So this is the Wolfheart Barbarian in this group of enemies. Big damage dealer and tank, and now he has to run away from us. Really, really good stuff. The only issue is it will use your main action, but that's okay because we could then choose to fly. See, we could fly and come here. And then we are ready and primed in our next round to deal with this one here. And because they're fearful, they have decided to run away from us. We get access to those opportunity attacks, if only they would hit. Okay, let's start dealing with some enemies. So, first attack. Chip away at a lot of health. And let's try and disarm this gentleman. Or we can miss. Let's try again. There we go, weapon dropped. So now what we could do, pick that weapon up, and now they are only unarmed and can't do anything. As you see here, their cunning action, disengaging, and because they've got no weapons left, they cannot do anything. This is a great way of not only picking up loot you can then sell, but a really nice way of just removing people from being any sort of damage dealer. Okay, so you just see we took an unarmed strike, which means we can sentinel. And there you go, 31 points of damage. Killed that enemy as well, and it wasn't even their turn. Okay, we could access our fly again, or even better, we could Misty Step with our bonus action, and come around here. Thanks to our disintegrating Night Walkers. And once again, let's test out some of these maneuvers. So, at this time, let's try the trip attack again. And there you go, the enemy is now prone, and it does a huge amount of damage. And theoretically, at this point, you just finish the fight. And there you go. And that is why this Battle Master build is so insane. 148 hit points, 21 AC, regen on every single hit, and you can do, 7 attacks in your first round? A critical hit guaranteed, and all sorts. It is phenomenal. Now, you'll see we use most of our superiority dice in the bottom there.
Better than nothing.
And after a little short rest, they all return, meaning you can do all that damage over again. Now, if you've enjoyed, please drop the episode a like, helps me amazingly. Let me know in the comments what you'd do differently, what other items and whatnot. If you're new and you haven't subscribed but you'd like to, that would also be amazing. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next build guide. Bye guys.